welcome to Atlanta Against Cancer, hosted by the Bebop Foundation, Jamestown, and Ponce City Market. We are raising funds to do more arts activations in hospitals, from murals to more fun hospital socks, and just bring creativity to the medical world. So we're going to have a couple of speakers now. We have some DJs coming on later, and of course the arts activations, immersive experience, and a few more vendors down there. So I do want to give a shout out just to the community of Atlanta. You know, we are represented here in every demographic possible and at the most amazing location in the city. It's just such an opportunity. And so I'll let Suzette introduce herself to start this off with. But my first question is, what is your name? So I'll give you... Hi, Suzette. How are you?
Hi, Yale. How are you?
So, what is your name and where are you from? And how did you and why did you come here today?
Okay. First of all, my name's Suzette Bryan, and I'm actually an Atlanta native. I was born here in ATL. Yay! So, I love Atlanta, and it's amazing to come back here. I used to come to the Sears store, right?
Yeah.
That used to be... here at Ponce City Market. I have to tell you a fun little fact. My mom bought me my first Marie and Donny Osmond album here. I was 7.
At the Sears?
At the Sears, y'all. They had a great album department. So this brings back amazing memories, and absolutely get to come now and see what has happened, what has blossomed here, right?
Yeah, totally.
So
yes. Real quick, so I know the story. So how did you find out about Atlanta Against Cancer? And, you know, why are you participating today? Why have you chosen to be a speaker, you know, to do some of the amazing activations we've done together?
Absolutely. Well, I am a soon-to-be, in October, I'll be 16 years breast cancer survivor.
Bring it up. There you go.
Thank you so much. Really blessed that God has allowed me to stay here on this amazing planet and help make a difference and help those others who are on this journey and really give them the tools, give them the emotional support and those things that they need to get across the bridge. So this comes in and is very near and dear to my heart, and definitely wanted to be a part when you asked me. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So my next question is, can you share about your personal story? Just a little bit about like the experience of having cancer and then the perspective of, you know, a 16-year survivor, which I think a lot of people look at cancer and they just see the singular experience, but they don't see, you know, there's life before, there's life during, and there's life after, and you continue on with life. So if you could speak to some of like both having breast cancer, but also the continuation of your life.
Absolutely. Well, first I will start. I was showering, and I had just started a month ago, previously, just checking, you know, doing that self-check shower while you're home. I used to wait to go to the doctor once a year, right? Like we all are supposed to do. But really, what are you doing the other 11 months?
Right.
How do you know? You just hope and pray that nothing's there.
Right.
So I had just started checking, and I found something, and I thought, oh goodness, what do I do now? So I immediately went to my doctor. He looked at it, and he said, let's get an ultrasound. So I got an ultrasound, and I was walking in the neighborhood. A few days later, he calls me, and I sit on the sidewalk stunned, right? Who wants to hear those words? And so he says it, but he says it's very early. And so I thought, okay, this is my new job, right?
Right.
I have to get up every morning. I have to figure out what's going on. What are the, best methods? What do we do here? And so I got an MRI. I ended up with some other news that wasn't so great. So now it was 3 places on my left breast and 1 place on my right. And I thought, oh my word, could my day go any worse, right? This was a week between the first call. So after that MRI, that really shows you, what's there, what you need to do. And so I opted for a double mastectomy with immediate reconstruction. So I thought, all right, this is what we're going to do. So I do want to say God gave me an unbelievable, surreal strength that I don't think I've ever had in my life to deal with what I was dealing with. It was only God, honestly,
Right.
to be able to handle this. And so I just had that attitude. I'm like, all right, let's go. We're going to have the surgery. I had the surgery. Went back to the oncologist. Oncologist goes, we're going to have to do 8 chemos. And I was just beside myself. I'm like, 8 chemos? So finally, she kept on looking at my readings. We got down to 4 chemos. So I was like, okay, this works. So 4 chemos. I lost my hair after the first chemo. Mind you, I had already 3 months prior, had gotten my wig, had it ready, cut, curled, same, just like my hair. Her name was Sassy, by the way.
You named your wig?
I named my wig.
You got to, though.
You have to. You have to have some fun, people.
Yeah, that's got to be an enjoyable factor of
That's
it.
exactly right. Her name was Sassy. And so as soon as that hair came off, I remember I went to my hairdresser, and she turned me backwards. And I'm like, all right, let's go Kojak style, right? And she's like, okay, I can only go so low. So she cut my hair, and then I turned around, and I was just like, whoa. I was just shocked, right?
I mean, I think there's a great question in there, which, as a guy who got cancer,
Right.
Going bald was like fashion almost. Like
For
it was,
you?
but people didn't really know. They just kind of saw I was a bald guy.
Right.
No one knew. But there's definitely I've heard from many women that aesthetic doesn't really fit, doesn't feel good. So I mean, obviously it's a personal journey, but what was that experience like of watching your physical sense change, as in some ways you're also getting stronger internally, and that, but it's time for the rubber to hit the road. You got to keep moving.
It was a tough day, to say the least. I decided right then and there, I'm like, all right. I had taken my best friend with me. I brought Sassy in my bag. And I had dressed up really nice, had my makeup on, the whole bit. And then I put my Sassy on, and I look at my best friend, Lori, and I go, all right, we're going to go do this. Mm-hmm. So I put on my wig, and that was it. I headed out that door, and I said, this is what we're going to do. And I had a couple of wigs. I had braids. I had fun with it. I never left the house. And this was just me. I had my makeup on and my hair. I'd get up in the morning, and I just felt better put together. Right? It made a difference, because when you feel good, you look good.
Well,
right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's so much of,
Right.
That's why we have all these socks, and, we look at Bebop, we look to design hospital clothing
Right.
that makes people feel confident. I think about, athletes when they put on their jersey,
Exactly.
it's a confidence that they get because they know they belong there. And so I think all cancer patients who have really found strength in it have their set of things they do, whether it's publicly, whether it's privately.
Mm-hmm.
They just have a set of things they do to make themselves feel correct, and it's tough.
That's exactly right. I do want to mention that I had a pivotal moment that week when I'm thinking, okay, my breasts are gone, now I have these implants, right? And now my hair. And I thought, you know what? It was in that moment that I realized that I am who I am, whether I have hair on my head, whether I don't have hair on my head, whether my lashes are long, whether they're not. It's still me. I'm the one that gets to control that. You don't get to control your situations, but you certainly get to control how you're going to react. And that's where the power is at, right? Yeah. Is being able to go, cancer is not bigger than me. I am bigger than cancer, and I see myself well, okay? You have to, because if you don't have anything like that to fight for. I also had 2 young girls at the time, 7 and 12. They're now 26 and 21. So it's probably the hardest thing I think I've ever done in my entire life. And I also had to remain strong for my mom. No, this is how we're doing, and just being that strong force where a caretaker sometimes really, they're watching from the outside, and they're shriveling because they're trying to do and do. And here I had to be the strong one for my mom.
It's so interesting. I've talked to a lot of people, and I talk to a lot of cancer
Right.
patients now. And sometimes when you're talking to people who haven't had cancer, or anyone really, like, it's easy to forget. Like, for me, my mom's son got cancer. My brother and sister's brother got cancer.
Right.
Uncles, nephew, grandparents, grandkid, and it's such I know that how I handle things bleeds so much into how other people handle things. And I never say, like, it's tough. It's certainly tough. And I know for me, my parents were definitely very patient with some of the more difficult, more stressful moments, I'll say, where I definitely voiced my opinions. But I'm sure that there are memories you've had with people of stories that we won't bring up. I know you was a very nice person, but
Thank
I'm
you.
sure
I appreciate that.
everybody's got it. So
It's in there. It's in there. And,
Right.
and the frustration level sometimes through these treatments.
Mm-hmm.
So I had that surgery. I had the 4 rounds of chemo. I had 33 doses of radiation.
wow.
And it was a 1.5 year long time span to be able to hit these things individually. And the way I did it was, okay, surgery. Got to lace up mentally for surgery, right?
Right.
Let's get through the surgery. Let's get well. Now we got to pivot again. Now we have to go do chemo.
Yeah.
All right, it's chemo.
Right.
Let's do all of it. Get to the other side. Now it's radiation. Let's do radiation. You
Yeah.
know, 33 days of it. And then the other thing was I have 28 lymph nodes out of my left arm.
Okay.
And thank God, because of exercising, I've not developed lymphedema ever.
Okay.
So I'm just thankful to God, obviously, that.
Right.
But because the first 2 lymph nodes were infected, and I told my doctor, I said, treat me aggressively, because I don't ever want to have to come back through here again.
Right.
One time is about 1,000 too many.
And I think that to that exact point, like, it's a cancer experience.
Correct.
It's not just you get those words, you've got cancer, and then it's over, and you just go to the hospital once, you deal with it, or you do a couple. It's not just a couple even chemos, because I know once you've done chemo a few times, you're kind of like, oh, I'm just going
Yeah.
to the doctor, I'm going to chemo. It becomes the least of your worries in some ways. I mean, everything from the logistics, like you said, the friends, the caregivers, everything to the multiple shots or
Yes.
scans. I mean, the fear around before you get a scan, after what the scan means. I mean,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
anxiety, the stress, it's very real.
It
and
is.
so I want to talk about really quickly before we move to the next thing, like the emotional and psychological strength that you must have and how you've dealt with that moving through 16 years, because you never really end cancer, and also, though, you can't always have it on your mind. You have to, in some ways, you have to live and let live. You have to let go. And even for current patients, I know, and, current people going through sicknesses and diseases, you can't rest on your laurels either. You can't
That's right.
take a back seat to your own, your own
Yeah.
health.
Well, you have to stay proactive. And I'm very proactive. If I see something, it's like, whoops, nope, going to the doctor. And you have to address it. Because what happens? You don't address it, it becomes something else, right? So very cognizant, taking care of things on the
Right.
front end, very proactive. I think one of the things to remember is that we all need to be living on a fully engaged highway.
Right.
Unfortunately, so many people just coast through life, and then you have a cancer diagnosis or you have something of this nature, and whether you want it or not, it revolutionizes how you think about things moving forward. It changes.
Completely.
And so I look at the beauty in the day. What you have is the day ahead. What are you going to do with it, right? And I don't live in the past. I lived through something, so it's back there. And sometimes when I look back, I go, oh, my goodness gracious. We came back from there, right?
Right,
But
right.
we're not there anymore. And
100%.
I just praise God that He's allowed me to move forward. And here I am 16 years later. And it's just enjoying the day, the moment.
Completely.
And really understanding that life is here one minute and it's gone the next for whatever reason.
Totally.
So it puts us all on the same footing. You think, oh, this person's had cancer, no, you don't know what could happen to anybody. Somebody
Right.
could have a fatal car wreck, right?
And that's such a big point to like why we do the
To
Bebop
really look.
Foundation,
Right.
why Atlanta Against Cancer really matters, because, and I say this to everybody, like the cancer experience doesn't negate a human experience. It's really all part
100%.
of a human experience, and I've said that over and over again about how just important it is that we bring, that's why we do Bebop, is because we bring creativity, which creates a separation, a pause from what has become this separate life, And so to segue into Atlanta now, would you tell us a little bit about what you do? And if, a couple questions I have just about your experience in Atlanta and working in the Hispanic community especially, and, how important it is that we bring proper education, proper awareness, not just in English, because we have a massive Hispanic, Latino community, Spanish-speaking community.
Right. Exactly. I did want to mention that because I did go through that cancer journey, when I was in the hospital and had my surgery, I could not believe I woke up with 4 drains, right? I think we talked about this.
Right.
So I had 4 drains for about 5.5 weeks, and I thought, oh my gosh, now I'm a science project. And so I started sketching with my mom on a piece of paper in the hospital room, and I ended up with a product that now I sell on Amazon that houses drains so you can shower. That was my big thing, because I love my bath, I love showers, and I was like, what is all this, right?
Got some claps in the back.
So
We'll have to set you guys up later.
I've actually sold out, y'all. So
Woo!
I'm excited. I'm in the process of securing more as my company grows. So
Sure.
I just wanted to mention that. That came out of that experience. I wanted to give people moving forward something I didn't have. And in addition to that, I love to mentor anyone that is going through this. And I have spoken to many, many, many women in this journey, and really given them just some pieces of advice and some education, and then they're like, oh, I feel better. Why? Because somebody did that for me when I first got diagnosed. So what do? We continue, right?
Exactly.
We move it forward and we pass it along. So back to your question, I'm sorry. Just wanted to mention that.
You're good.
So I am the Director of Membership and Experience at the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And I love that position because it allows me, as a Cuban American, to go out and try to put these communities together, right?
Right.
Why do we exist? We exist because we connect Hispanic to non-Hispanic business. And at the end of the day, everybody wins.
Completely.
That's really our mission,
Agreed.
and we exist to empower your small business as well as help you in your journey. If you have a corporation, you're at a corporate job, whatever that may be, we just want to really rally for you and help.
Right. So, I feel like we've touched on so much, and kind of just to wrap up this amazing moment, because it is a moment. And we've talked about this before. There's not enough of this.
Right.
Cancer affects everyone's life. We all have a cancer story. Even if it hasn't directly affected you, there is a story out there connected to you. And we need, mission-backed events, mission-backed, and you can't see on the cameras, but I'm sure you'll see that, with thousands of people coming to not just raise money, but enjoy themselves. Because cancer, it is sad. It's sad, it's tough, I want to put this on YouTube, so we shouldn't cuss too much, but the reality is that it takes a village to keep this going, to move forward, and so I want to thank you. And if there's anything you want to end on, say something, I'd love for you to do that. Yeah.
Well, first of all, we need to put our hands together because of the tremendous work that EL has done. This is amazing. We are so appreciative to have you step up and to really put the community together, make them feel welcomed, include them, right? So they also are aware and they're educated. So super grateful for what you're doing and happy to continue to support you. as you move forward with this. And I do want to say, make sure you're checking yourselves. Monthly checks are a great way just to see if something's off. You don't know what your body feels like if you're not used to it, right? You got to get to the point that you know what it feels like so you can recognize something different. And I'm super grateful I was able to recognize something different, and I had just been doing this for about 30 days.
And go to the doctor.
Please.
I mean, go to the doctor.
Go.
I
Get
know
yourself
what
checked
it
out.
costs, but it costs way more if you don't go to the doctor. That is, ask anyone.
That's exactly
yeah.
right. That's exactly right. The price you pay sometimes, unfortunately, can be your life when you don't address things in the proper time frame.
100%.
And that one, I want you to take to heart and really relish your life, relish your time throughout your days. Understand the power and the magic that we have, right, and how we can help others.
Completely. Can we get a round of applause for Suzette Bryan for
Thank
sitting
you,
down,
Al.
going first, and just being a part of our event it's an absolute honor. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been a privilege. Appreciate it.